What's good, guys? So today I'm gonna show you guys the whole 30-minute breakdown on how I like to mix my vocals with Waves plugins. Recently I dropped a whole bunch of new Wave templates, and in those templates you get this 30-minute video that I'm about to play for you guys, the step-by-step tutorial on how I like to use the Wave plugins to mix my vocals. So I figured I may as well drop it on YouTube, seeing how I spent some time on it, and I'm sure it will be pretty beneficial for some of you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and take your vocals from sounding like this.
I'm a slave to my bad habits, slave to my bad habits. All these drugs turn me to an addict. Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn me to a savage.
To like this.
I'm a slave to I'm a slave to my bad habits, slave to my bad habits. All these drugs turn me to an addict. Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn me to a savage.
You may want to grab some popcorn, maybe a drink or something, because like I said, it's a whole 30-minute breakdown, step by step. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah.
Alright, so first I'm going to start with the master track. Don't forget about your master track. Again, this is affecting everything. It's here at the bottom on your mix. We have MEQ5 EQ. By the way, these are some of my favorite EQs. Love these EQs. Great EQs. Awesome EQs. Fire EQs. So the MEQ5 EQ is for the mid-range. So you'll see we have different frequencies here on the left. You can select your frequency, 200 hertz, 300 hertz, 500 hertz, 700 hertz, 1000 hertz. Then you have your gain, and then you can turn it up. Now, I don't use the peak knob too often, but if I use it, I like to use it around 700. It just gives you like a sharper attack, kind of.
I'm a slave to my bad habits, slave to my bad habits. All these drugs turn me to an addict. Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn me to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid.
Now, I wouldn't bring it up that much. Around where I have it right now, like 2 seems like a pretty good spot. Just gives it a little bit more punch. You just gotta find the sweet spot. Moving over, we have our dip section. So same thing, you gotta find the hertz you want to set it at and then turn the gain up. But this isn't turning anything up, this is turning everything down. So say your vocals sound too bright or too nasally. Like personally, I have a really like bright, high-pitched, nasally voice. Sometimes when I yell or when I rap really aggressive, it can sound kind of harsh and nasally. I don't really like that, so I like to turn this down. Right now we have it at like 5000 hertz at 4. So this is kind of just taking that bright, high-pitched, nasally voice of mine and just kind of toning it down a little bit. I'll give you guys a little example of this.
Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn me to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great.
Notice how it kind of just softens everything up. So if stuff sounds a little bit too harsh, use the dip knob and soften up your vocals or your song. Then we have our peak section. So this section is doing the opposite of the dip section. Same thing, find your hertz and then turn the gain up. Instead of going down this time, we're going up. If your vocals sound too soft, you can use this knob to kind of brighten everything up a little bit.
She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn me to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
So that is for your mid-range, the MEQ5. And then we have the EQ-P1A. This is for your lows and your highs. Now, I'm pretty confident to say that these two EQs are my favorite EQs. I really like them. They really give you a clean, sharp, crispy sound. This is probably my favorite, the EQ-P1A. It does an amazing job on the lows and an amazing job on the highs. So, the same setup. Find the hertz, set the hertz, turn the gain up. Then we have your bandwidth. So your bandwidth is kind of like how sharp your curve is. So to show you guys a little example, a sharp bandwidth would look something like this. And a broad bandwidth would look something like this. So that's the bandwidth. I just wanted to pull up the EQ to give you guys a visual example. Now again, this is our master track, so this is affecting everything. So I'm not really doing much with the lows. I don't really like to mess with the lows on the master track. I'll do it sometimes if the beat seems really bassy or if there's not enough bass. I might crank the bass up a little bit or take the bass away. That's what these this knob is for. I think it's the attenuation knob. If you turn this knob up, it's like a high pass filter. It's gonna cut some of those lows off. And if you turn the boost knob up, it's gonna boost those lows. But for the master, I don't really like to mess with that too much. But for the master, I love to mess with the highs just to give you a nice like crispy sound. And that's what we did here. So I have my frequency set at 800 hertz and I have it boosted to 6, which is actually a lot, and I'm kind of surprised I did that, but we're gonna see how it sounds.
I'm a slave to my bad habits, slave to my bad habits. These drugs turn me to an addict. Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away, I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
And that right there is one of my favorite high frequency EQs. It gives you a really clean, crispy, clear vocal. Moving over to the right here, you have pretty much your low pass filters. So if your highs are too bright, you can turn this knob up and it'll kind of cut those highs down a little bit, make your highs a little bit softer.
All these drugs turn me to an addict. Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face.
And over here to the right, which I should have probably explained first, is the hertz that you want to set it at. You got 20,000 hertz, 10,000 hertz, 5,000 hertz. So you should probably set this first to whatever hertz you want to set it at. And then turn the gain up or down. Next, we have our sibilance, our de-esser. This is for all the S's, the harsh S's. Now, personally, I like a really crispy mix. And I really try hard to achieve that. So sometimes I try too hard. It sounds a little bit too harsh. So that's why I have this de-esser on here. What this is doing is just pretty much taking away any S's, any harsh S's. The detection, the more you guys bring this knob to the right, the more it's going to capture the sh sound. The more you bring it to the left, the more it's going to capture a s sound. The threshold, the more you bring the threshold and the range down, the stronger the effect's going to be, the more it's going to take away the S's. And for the mode, if you bring this over to wide, it's going to capture a wider frequency range of your vocal. And if you bring it over to split, it's only capturing the frequencies above 4K. And that's where all the harshness mostly comes from, is the frequencies above 4K. So I like to keep it over on split. That's our de-esser. So next we have our maximizer plus limiter. It's a limiter and a maximizer. This will make everything louder, more exciting, punchier. You always want your limiters to be the last thing in the vocal chain. The limiter just seals everything off, limits anything from getting through, and the maximizer, this boosts all those levels and makes everything louder, thicker, punchier, and, you know, really exciting. So first we have our input gain. This is how loud everything is going into the plugin. So say you set this plugin and everything sounds a little bit distorted or something, you could turn this down. You can click this link button right here and it'll link both channels, and you can bring them both down, make the signal a little bit more quieter. Then we have our threshold. Anything above this limit, say it's -7.0, 5.4, whatever it is what's getting affected. And the more you pull this down, you'll notice the louder the song gets and the stronger the effect gets.
Slave to my bad habits. All these drugs turn me to an addict. Whoa. She don't turn me to a savage, she don't turn to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore.
Then we have our output ceiling. This is like how loud everything's gonna be. Now this knob's kind of like the opposite. The more you bring this knob down, it's actually gonna get quieter. Now I like to leave it just below 0 just in case, because sometimes when you can go to 0, things might clip. So this will stop anything from clipping. That's why I keep it like just below 0. Then you have your release. Now if you guys want a more punchier song, then you'd bring the release down. If you guys want a more like thicker, heavier song, then keep the release up. I have it at 1 right now. Got that medium release. Then these buttons will give you like different sounds. Like if you want like a sharper sound, a more punchier sound, a brighter sound, you could click this option over here. If you want like a more flatter sound, go with this option. Then same thing down here, it just gives you like different type of sounds, like a digital sound, an analog sound, a true peak sound. But yeah, I wouldn't really worry about those too much. All right, so that was all my effects for the master track. Again, this is affecting everything, the beat and the vocals. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into the vocals, the verse effects. So our first verse effect is our Clay 3A compressor. Now you'll notice I have one of these at the front of our vocal chain and one at the end of our vocal chain. Now this is a compressor and a limiter. So the one at the beginning is a compressor and the one at the end of the vocal chain is a limiter. I like to think of these as like my bread, and everything in between is like the lettuce, the meat, the sauce. Now the compressor is leveling all the quiet stuff up with the loud stuff up and just finding a balance. Sometimes when you record, you might be like, yeah, you know we gotta get it where you never seen before. I've been steady on the road, I ain't never letting go. But sometimes when you record, you might move your head or you might say some words louder than others. So the compressor is going to balance everything out and make everything sound even. And our limiter is limiting the maximum volume and stopping the vocals from clipping. That's why I have it at the end. The limiter and the compressor are almost like the same thing. The limiter is like a stronger compressor. It has a higher compression ratio. So I use these two together to give your vocals like a nice balance, a consistent sound, a good sound. But yeah, it's two knobs, super simple. Feel free to mess with them. Really basic compressor. Then over here in the bottom right corner, you guys have your frequency spectrum. Now this will determine the frequency at where your compression reacts. So if you turn it up, you'll notice your vocal will sound brighter. If you turn it down, you'll notice you have a flatter type vocal. So next we have our Waves Autotune. Now some presets come with Autotune, some presets don't. If you have a hip hop rap type preset, like a J. Cole preset, one of the Drake presets, or an Eminem preset, those presets don't have Autotune. You can easily add Autotune to the preset if you guys want to. Just click this arrow, go down the time and pitch, automatic pitch correction. Adobe has an awesome Autotune. But if you guys don't have Autotune, you can go ahead and skip this part if you want to, or you can stay and watch, up to you. Now, for those that do have the Autotune, now the main things you want to worry about here are your scale and your key. You can find your scale and your key on these two websites. I like to try to use both of them. So if you drag your beat into these websites, it will scan the beat and tell you the key of the beat. And then once you have the key of the beat, you can put the Autotune in the key of the beat because you want the Autotune in the same key of the beat. Because if the Autotune's not in the same key of the beat, then it's going to sound a little weird. And that's not what you want. So try to get your Autotune in the same key as the beat. And I like to use both websites because sometimes one says different than the other, so you can try both of them. They're like 80% correct, but most of the time you will find the key in one of the websites. So once you got the key, you can go to your scale. It's either going to be major or minor. Then you're going to find the key, and then it might be a sharp, it might not. So if it's a sharp, you want to hit this hashtag or this B. You can also sometimes find the key of the beat in the description to where you purchase the beat. So sometimes the producer will put it in the description, so you can check in the description. If not, feel free to use the website. Then after you guys set your scale and your key, you want to set the range. Now I only use alto and tenor. I never ever really use the rest of these ranges. So tenor or alto, either one will work for you. So now we want to focus on our speed and our note transition. So the smaller these numbers are, the more Autotune you're going to get. The more you turn it up, the less Autotune you're going to get. For me, I like to do like 2 and like 15. It's like a Autotune-y, but not like crazy Autotune-y, but like kind of Autotune-y sound. Yeah, that's the only thing I would really worry about for this. The rest of the stuff you can experiment with. Personally, that's all I really use for the Autotune. Feel free to experiment with the rest of the stuff if you like. Next, we have our de-esser. I went over this in the mastering effects. This is our sibilance de-esser. It's going to take away those S's, those harsh S's in your vocals. Then we have our EQs, our awesome EQs, which I went over already. Amazing EQs. We have our mid-range EQ and our high frequency and low frequency EQ. So if we go back to our mid-range EQ, again, if your vocals sound like too bright, too nasally, you can use this dip option. Or if they sound too dull, you can use this peak option, set your hertz, bring this up. It'll give your vocals a more brighter sound in those mids. You also have your other peak over here. These are more of like the low mids. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, these are some awesome EQs. I love these EQs. My favorite EQs. Got your boost, so if you want to boost your lows in your vocals, you can turn this up. Then we have like our high pass filter, so say your vocals sound too thick, too muddy, you can bring this up, take some of that thickness away. Got your bandwidth, which I went over. I have that set at the middle. Then we have our high frequencies. Yeah, this can give you some really nice highs. And then we have like your low pass filter, so if your highs are too strong, you can use this attenuation knob, turn this up, and it'll kind of take those highs away a little bit.
Fucking blessing that I get for being great. I can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I get for being great, but I can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. I can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day. Now I get for being great, but I can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face.
Those are the Pug Tech, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, EQs. I love these EQs. You can really find a nice balance in your mix with these EQs. So I highly suggest messing around with them. Next we have our Rvox compressor, a really great straight to the point compressor. Love it. Again, the compressor will help even out the loud stuff with the quiet stuff and help you find a balance. I'm pretty sure I use this with most of my presets. We have the gate on the left, the amount of compression in the middle, and our output gain on the right. The more you pull this down, the more compression you will get. So I like to find the amount of compression and set your output gain.
I'm a slave to my bad habits, slave to my bad habits. These drugs turn me to an addict. Oh, she don't turn me to a savage. She don't turn to a savage. Turn me to an addict. Oh, she don't turn me to a savage. She don't turn to a savage. I don't even care what happens anymore. At least I'm still paid.
But yeah, you just want to play with it until you find a nice balance between the two. And the gate will help cut any like unwanted background noise. Like say you have like me in the background, I have this air purifier thing in the background and it's making a humming sound. Then my laptop's in here buzzing. And then say you have these like fans in the background like I do, then the gate will help get rid of that like background noise. But if you crank it up too much, it can start messing with your vocals, so be careful. And then you guys have tons of different presets you guys can choose from in here too and mess around with. So feel free to mess around with the presets as well. For every single effect, there's tons of presets to play with. All right, so next we have our R compressor. Now this is for the people that want to get a little bit more technical with the compressor. We have a few more options here. Starting with the attack and the release. The more you bring this attack up, the more punchier your vocals are going to start sounding. And the more you bring the release down, the more punchier your vocals will sound. So if you're doing rap vocals, you can crank the attack up, bring the release down, and it'll give you like a really punchy vocal. If you're doing like a singing type song and you're stretching your notes out more and you want like a thick, heavy sound, then you can use like a slower attack and a longer release. On the left right here, we have our threshold. So anything above this limit is what's getting compressed. So a good way to find your threshold is to find like the quietest part of your vocal track. So if I highlight this and play this, the volume of that's going to about right there. You could set your threshold like right here. Now anything above that will be compressed. Then we have our ratio. The more you turn that down, the stronger the compressor will be. And then we have our output gain to adjust the volume levels.
That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and that's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and that's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face.
All right, so now we're gonna start adding a little bit of sauce to the mix here. So we have another one of these EQs here, the low frequency and the high frequency EQ, the EQ P1A, and I'm using this to really shape your tone. So I didn't cut too many lows out before, Some people like the compress then EQ. Some people like EQ then compress. I like to do both. So the first EQs are like our subtle EQs. I have those at the beginning of the mix just to adjust your raw vocal, your pretty much raw vocal. And then we have our second EQ after the compression later on in the mix to really shape your vocal and bring those tones out and make your vocal sound good. So what I did here, which I didn't do in the first EQ, is cut the lows. So we cut the lows a decent amount up to 6. So I'll play it like it is right now, and then I'll bring my lows down to 0, and you'll see why I did what I did.
Still pay, that's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Notice how when I brought the levels to 0, it made your vocals sound really thick and muddy. And that's why you want to cut out your lows, because it really highlights the tone in your voice and brings all the good stuff out and gets rid of all the bad stuff. So for this track particularly, a good setting was like 5, 6-ish. Now for the boost, I don't really use the boost too much for my vocals. Sometimes I do. So I usually just keep the boost at 0 and cut my lows a little bit.
That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Lovely. 5 actually sounds great. I don't even think I need to go to 6. So if your vocals sound too thick or too thin, that's a good knob to use to kind of figure out a balance. And then we got our high frequency knobs. This is one of my favorite knobs ever right here. You can really get like a nice, clean, sharp vocal. Now for the most part, I like to set it at 16 Hertz. It's higher up in the frequency range. This way it'll give you like a crispy, airy type vocal.
Hey, that's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Then we have our vitamins. I love our vitamins. This is one of my favorite effects right here. It's a multi-band harmonic enhancer. Just some extra sauce for your vocals. Pretty sure I use this on every single preset. Now, what I like to use the most, I don't always use it, but most of the times I do. So it's called Brand New Bass right here. But this effect kind of just sweeps the lows out of your vocals. Not too much till it sounds like your vocals super thin. But it cuts the lows out of your vocals and makes your vocals fit really nicely into the beat. Like your vocals just sit on top of the instrument. It really makes your voice like a part of the beat. It's hard to explain, but I really like this effect. Now sometimes I tone the highs down. So when you click Brand New Bass, these two knobs will be brought up. Now I brought this knob down and I only left the highs, but this is kind of doing the same thing as the equalizer. It's cutting that muddiness out of your vocals and just leaving the good stuff. One thing I do suggest is that you tone the highs down a little bit, because sometimes the highs can be a little bit harsh, but that's what I did here, and it sounds great. So
that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great. But that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face.
So again, just getting rid of some of that muddiness and fitting your vocals nicely into the beat with this. You also have this punch effect right here. I have it at 0, but you can bring this up and it'll make your vocals like more punchier. And then we have another sibilance effect, a de-esser. Sometimes once you start adding all these effects to your vocals, it can become a little bit sibilant and essy. So that's why we have another de-esser near the end of the vocal chain, just to get rid of some more of those unwanted S's. And I went over this already, so you guys should know what that does. And then we have our reverb, a really important effect. There's lots of options here, but if you want the simple way out, here it is. If you want more reverb, go to the wet and dry knob and turn that up. If you want less reverb, just turn it down. But that's the easy way to do it. Now there's multiple options on here, and we're gonna go over them. Now on a lot of rap music, there's not too much reverb. On a lot of like pop music and R&B music, singing type music, there's more reverb. But today everything is combined into like raps, like singing now. It's all the genres are becoming one. So you know, sometimes we gotta mix it up too. Now we have all these different presets and effects you guys can use, so feel free to play with those. But I'm gonna go over these options down here, these settings. So the size is like how big you want your virtual room size to be. So like 1 would be like a bathroom, and 100 would be like an auditorium.
That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great, but that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great, but that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain.
The time is how long it takes for the reverb to fade away.
It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. Another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Pretty much the same thing with the DK. The early reflections, it's gonna give you like a boxy, reverby sound. It's kind of similar to size.
That's a fucking blessing that I get for being great, but that can never change the fact that all I feel is pain. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
The pre-delay is like a subtle echo, but in a reverby way. It kind of just echoes your vocals a little bit.
I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Then we're gonna go up here to damping. This is like your frequencies for your reverb. You got your high frequencies, your low frequencies. So if I play with these knobs, you will see.
I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
So that's a super key effect when it comes to the reverb. Highly suggest playing around with that. Your diffusion will help tame the reverb. If you want a thicker signal, you can bring it up. If you want like a thinner reverb, you can bring it down.
I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Then we have an EQ, kind of like a vocal EQ, but for the reverb. I like to keep my reverb EQ in the middle, like how you see it right here, instead of like putting it up like this or something. I notice when I bring it up in the highs, it can get really like harsh and tinny. I don't really like that sound, so I like to keep the reverb curve just sitting there in the middle between 100 and 8,000 hertz. But yeah, there's mad reverb settings you guys can play with. Next we have some delay. Now I use this in most of the presets. Some presets I don't think I used it. In this particular preset I don't even have it. I didn't turn it on. I kept it turned off just in case you have the option if you want to turn your delay on. On the left here you got your delay time. So say you want a faster delay. Echo, 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 echo. You can bring it down to the left. But if you want like a slower delay, you can bring it to the right, which would be more like a echo, echo, echo. It's my easiest way of explaining it.
I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I drink it all away and then I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
The feedback is like how many echoes you want. Like, do you want to hear echo, 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 echo for like 10 seconds, or do you just want 2 echoes, like echo, echo, echo?
It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Then you have your dry and wet knob. This is like your main setting right here. This is like to control everything. The more you bring this up, the more echo you're gonna hear. The more you bring it down, the less echo you're gonna hear.
It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day. I wake up on my face. It's just another day, yeah, it's just another day.
Then you have your echo EQ. So if you want like you want to EQ the lows out of your echo, you can do that. EQ the highs out of your echo, you can do that. Find a nice balance in between. Then this analog switch, which I should just turn off because again, that's just noise. Then you have some modulation stuff, which will like kind of make your stuff sound like it's like far away, or you can do some cool effects with the modulation. Personally, I don't really use the modulation too much. I just like to leave like a normal sounding vocal. I don't like to make my vocal sound like an alien or something. And after our delay, we have our Clay 3A limiter, which I already went over at the beginning of this video, so you guys should know all about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We have some doubles, some background vocals for this preset. It's pretty much the same process, same plugins. I just may have cut some more lows out or added some more reverb or more auto-tune, but pretty much the same process. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I hope you took something from it. Now you can go ahead and take advantage of this preset. We have lots more tutorials on the YouTube if you guys want to go see some more tutorials. We have more presets dropping soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.